Welcome to On the Ladder, the series that tells you everything you need to know about buying your first home. I'm Sarah Tucker, and in every episode, I'm going to be guiding you through a different part of the process. This is On the Ladder, and you're about to take the first step. If you're dreaming about buying your first home, chances are the first question that pops into your head is, how on earth am I going to save the deposit? And what exactly is a deposit anyway? It's one of the biggest worries for first-time buyers and one of the most misunderstood. So let's clear a few things up. When people hear deposit, they often think you need a massive 20% lump sum just to get started. But that is not true. Most lenders today will let you buy with as little as 5% of the property price. And in some cases, you might not need a deposit at all. So what exactly is a deposit? Your deposit is the chunk of money you put towards the price of your home up front, whereas your mortgage covers the rest. So if the property costs £250,000 and you have a £25,000 deposit, you'll borrow the remaining £225,000 from your lender. That's a bank or building society that will provide you with the mortgage. The proportion coming from your lender is referred to as loan to value or LTV. In this example, your deposit is 10% and your LTV is therefore 90%. Most first-time buyers will pay an upfront deposit worth between 5 and 10% of the total value of their chosen property. But the more deposit you can put down at the beginning, the better the interest rates will be on your mortgage. So let's now speak to our senior mortgage advisor, Gemma Bennett, who's going to break this down further for us.
Now, it's not a straightforward formula, and this is where a mortgage advisor will help you. But let's put that into perspective. So say you're buying a £250,000 home over 25 years. Here's how your deposit changes things. 100% mortgage means no deposit. And the average rate is about 6.25%, which is roughly £1,649 a month. Now, a 95% mortgage requires a 5% deposit, which is £12,500. And that average interest rate is around 4.87%, which will cost you about £1,371 a month. A 90% mortgage requires 10% deposit, which is £25,000. The average rate is 4.44%, which will cost you about £1,243 a month. And an 80% mortgage, which requires 20% deposit, which is £50,000, the rates are closer to 4.22%, which is around £1,080 per month. That's a difference of more than £500 a month between a 0% and a 20% deposit. And generally, the interest rate will keep getting lower until you put down 40%, at which point we generally see that the interest rates are unchanged.
So yes, the bigger your deposit, the better your interest rate and the more options you're going to have. But it doesn't mean you have to hold off on your home ownership dream if you have saved 5 or 10%, because if that gets you started, then that's your first step. Your interest rate is how much it costs you to borrow money from your lender, shown as a percentage. It's the charge made to the amount you owe, so even a small difference in the rate can change your monthly payments and the total cost of your mortgage. But how much deposit do you actually need? So this is the fun bit. Start by looking at properties in your area that you'd like to live in and that suit your needs. How much are they? Then take the total value or the total asking price of a typical property in that area and multiply it by 0.05. That will give you an idea of how much deposit you might need to save if you're working towards a 5% deposit. But remember, you might not need a deposit at all. So how do you actually save for a deposit? I know, it's hard, but let's make it simple. First up, you could open a lifetime ISA. If you're aged between 18 and 39 years old, it's one of the best tools for first-time buyers. You can save up to £4,000 a year in it, and the government adds a 25% bonus. That's up to £1,000 extra every year for free. You can use it for a property worth up to £450,000, but the account does need to be open for at least a year before you buy. And if you think your first property might be more than £450,000, a lifetime ISA might not make sense because there are fees charged to withdraw your money over this property amount. You can also build your deposit by saving, and automating your savings is a really good idea. Set up a standing order on payday so you don't even have to think about it. Even small amounts add up faster than you think.
It helps to understand what financial support, if any, you might be offered from people close to you. Some first-time buyers also get help from friends and family with gifted deposit or a deposit that's loaned to them. If a family member helps with a gifted deposit, your lender and solicitor will need a short letter confirming it's a gift and not a loan. If your family member wants the deposit money back, this may change how much you can borrow on a mortgage, as it's considered a personal loan.
There are also great schemes out there to help those of you who may be struggling to save a deposit. And that's lots of you, by the way, particularly if you're renting. Products like the Track Record mortgage from Skipton allow you to get a mortgage with no deposit if you've been renting for 12 of the last 18 months. The Barclays Family Springboard mortgage allows your family to put a deposit into a bank account that earns them interest for 5 years, and Barclays will use this as your deposit, a bit like a guarantor mortgage in the past. And the April 100% mortgage will allow you to borrow 100% of the property value. So that means no deposit from you at all. There are more and more schemes and products being designed every day to tackle this very issue, and we will always be the first to tell you about them. Like the Deposit Unlock scheme for new build homes, or the popular shared ownership scheme where you buy a part of the property and pay rent on the rest, meaning you pay a much lower deposit on your share of the property. But we'll talk about those in more detail in other episodes. Can you just do me a favour? Can you just hit the subscribe button for me? Because the bigger our channel gets, the bigger we can make this series and the more people we can help get on the property ladder. Thank you so much. When do you pay your deposit? So you might be surprised to know that you don't pay your full deposit when your offer's accepted. It's actually due just before exchange of contracts. That's when your solicitor sends the deposit to the seller's solicitor. If you're buying a new build, you might pay a small reservation fee earlier to hold the property. Make sure your deposit money is held in a clear, traceable account before exchange. The key message is this: don't let the idea of a deposit stop you from starting. Firstly, you might not need to save as much as you think. You just need to know what your options are and then get some help to come up with a plan.
Start by booking a conversation with an advisor. You can do this now, even if you are years away from buying. That's our #1 tip of the series. Choose your advisor now and let them walk the journey with you.
So whether it's 12,000 or 25,000, your deposit is basically your foundation. The sooner you start saving, the sooner you'll be holding the keys. This is On the Ladder, and you just took the first step. Thank you so much for watching this episode of On the Ladder. Hit the subscribe button to be the first to know when the next episode drops. And please put in your comments any questions you have and we will cover them in future episodes. This has been On the Ladder and you just took the next step. See you next time.